Eskimos general manager Ed Hervey is a big fan of continuity. By extension, so is head coach Jason Maas. That's why today's announcement was so important to both men. The entire coaching staff from the 2016 CFL season is returning to the Eskimos for 2017.
It was important to me to have everybody back, and obviously asking them throughout the year if they were happy and good with the situation that they're in. And obviously by the end of the year, everyone gave me the yes and affirmative yes. So nobody was more pleased than I was.
There is one pretty big change to the Eskimos coaching staff for 2017, though. They've got a new offensive coordinator. Maas takes a step back, and Carson Walsh, who was the receivers coach last year, now has the OC title. It's a move that Jason Maas has been contemplating for quite some time.
I have trust in Carson. I mean, I saw his work ethic. You know, hiring him last year, he was one of the last hires I had on our staff, and just talking football with him, you know, we think alike, you know, scheme-wise and what we see, how offensive football should be done. And so there's a great sense of comfort in Carson for me personally. You know, I understand what kind of work ethic he brings, what kind of teacher he is in the classroom, being able to see that over a course of a year, seeing his in-game adjustments of what he's seeing, talking football on a day-to-day basis, his understanding of the CFL, understanding of our offense, his ability to work with our other coaches and the players, getting the most out of them at his position. There was a lot of positives that I looked at. And the other thing is, you know, something Carson talked about when he first got here is his dream and his vision was to become a coordinator in our league and a play caller. And, you know, I told him that, you know, I could envision him doing that one day. I wasn't sure when that day would come, to be quite honest with you. And, you know, I'm pleasantly surprised that it's now, to be quite honest with you.
Looking at his resume, I mean, he's a young man still, but he's been coaching for 17 years now.
Absolutely, and that was when I talked to him in the beginning. I realized that right off the bat. You know, he and I talked the same lingo. Having worked in the staff under Tressman, which is the same type of offense we run. You know, having that experience. You know, he's light years ahead of most people that are his age with the amount of experience he has, and he's just a bright football mind. He's really fun to talk to every day and to see what he's seeing. So he's creative, but he's a hard worker, bottom line, and he gets along with people. He gets the most out of his players. So, you know, for me, that was an easy thing to do for a guy that wants to do it and a guy that I believe is capable of doing it. I have nothing but the utmost confidence in the ability to get the job done.
Maas added that it was a very tough decision for him to make to step away from calling plays on a game-to-game basis, but he hands those duties over to Carson Walsh as the Eskimos' new OC. Joined by Dave Campbell now. Dave, this kind of ends a year-long interview process for Walsh for this position.
Pretty much, and it was signed, sealed, and delivered basically on November 5th. That was Game 18 for the Eskimos, the final regular season game, when Carson Walsh called the plays. That's the live mic fiasco with TSN and the CFL, and we won't go into it. But Jason Maas handed the reins to Carson Walsh, was very impressed with how he managed the game, called the game. And, you know, it's very impressive, Carson Walsh's rise to this point, because he's been a coach for 17 years. He's 37 years old. He's going to turn 38 in October. So someone that has worked under Scott Milanovich and Mark Tressman, and it's a similar type of offense that he will run, that is being run here in Edmonton with the Eskimos. So Carson Walsh is definitely a whiz kid in the coaching ranks of the Canadian Football League and pro football.
And he is part of the Eskimos coaching staff for 2017. Everybody returns. That includes special teams coordinator Corey McDermott and assistant head coach and defensive coordinator Mike Benavides. The Eskimos now turn their eye to free agency, which starts on February 14th. For Dave, I'm Morley.